Welcome to the City Current Show, powered by Higginbotham Insurance and Financial Services.
This show focuses on sharing good news and powering the good in our community. Now here's your host, City Current CEO, Jeremy Park.
Welcome to the City Current Show, powered by Higginbotham. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference and powering the good. And we always love talking about Higginbotham Insurance. That's why we're honored to have with us Jay Harvill, Managing Director and our office lead in Middle Tennessee with Higginbotham Insurance. Jay, how are you doing, buddy?
Fantastic, Jeremy. Good to be with you this morning as always. Great time, great day to be in Middle Tennessee, and a great day to be with Higginbotham.
Well, when you talk about Higginbotham Insurance, obviously the City Current storyline is a through line with Higginbotham. And so on my end, full disclosure, part of the Higginbotham Insurance team as well. That's why we love highlighting the good that Higginbotham is doing to power the good in the community and beyond. And so let's start with a little bit of context. For those who don't know Higginbotham Insurance, give us a little bit of background on Higginbotham Insurance.
You know, Higginbotham's been an extraordinary success story. We're still a privately held agency, which is shocking in today's age. Most of our competitors our size are either publicly traded or backed by private equity completely. And here we are being employee owned and allowing each of our employees to have a piece of our success. Extraordinary growth, particularly in the last 5 years. We've almost tripled in size. So we're now in the top 20 brokers in the country, which doesn't mean a lot until you know there's about 32,000 insurance brokers in the country. So, and size doesn't do anything except gain you market clout and ability to do things for your clients. So we're not growing for growth's sake. We're growing to be able to serve our clients better and love on them a little more.
Talk about the different lines. So property and casualty, employee benefits, personal lines, even day two services. Give us a little bit of an a la carte for all the different things that Higginbotham Insurance does.
Yeah, primarily our firm does several areas of insurance. We really focus on property and casualty insurance for businesses, insuring their assets, and then large group benefits, typically employers that have 50 employees and up to thousands, 20, 30,000 employees, being able to meet their needs. We do a lot in the space of really kind of crafting for leadership, homeowners insurance programs to take care of their various assets, as well as doing some specialty planning with life insurance that's become really unique in the marketplace. So we've just expanded trying to meet the needs of our clients, and wrapped around all that is this idea that we are trying to be a partner that does something more than just sell insurance. We want to be in the room. We want to help think about where your company's going and how do we create margin for your company and how do we minimize risk and not use the insurance that you're buying? How do we use wellness programs? So that's been our real focus, that's been responsible for the growth, quite honestly. It's just unique in the marketplace.
When you talk about some of the things that really do make Higginbotham Insurance special, culture is a big piece of that. Talk about the culture, talk about some of those kind of hidden pieces that we have a chance to see, but that really do make Higginbotham Insurance special.
You know, Jeremy, I was having this conversation recently about it got real trendy, especially in the 90s and 2000s and later, that your company has to come together and get its mission and get its core values. And so everybody's putting it on the wall and then putting it on their websites and putting it on their marketing materials. And dealing with as many companies as I do, I just saw so many of them that they were just words. Quite honestly, leadership couldn't even say what their values were. And it struck me, being a part of Higginbotham, how much we spend time on our values, not just knowing what they are, but trying to live them out. And they're simple, they're easy. We're family to our employees. We're accountable to our clients. We are teammates to our carriers, and we want to be generous to our communities. Those four things. And I see Higginbotham day by day in little things and big things, trying to live out those values and constantly pointing back to them and saying, hey, does this action align with those values? And to me, that's incredibly unique, and it makes me really proud of my company.
I think on our end, being able to see how you take a leadership role in those core values in terms of how they are manifested in the community. And I take, for instance, the Kids Dental Day and shoe distribution, where Higginbotham and City Current really are major partners, along with Delta Dental of Tennessee and so many other, Meharry Medical College and Interfaith Dental, and
Right.
basically putting together this kind of mini festival for hundreds and hundreds of kids to come out at the Nashville Sounds baseball stadium to get dental screenings and cleanings and new shoes and socks. And you have all these volunteers coming out to pour love into these kids. But Higginbotham is playing a critical leadership role in bringing that event together and making it happen. And I think those are the things, back to the intersection of how do these core values, how are they lived out in the community? How are they lived out with your team and your employees and your carriers? I think that's a great example of one. But give us one other one that stands out to you as a way that these core values are literally lived out.
It gets lived out constantly with Higginbotham has a community fund. And the community fund is contributed to by all of our employees. And if you're a contributor, you can ask for a grant from the community fund to any nonprofit. And it's always so encouraging to see the wide range of nonprofits that Higginbotham is giving. We've given millions and millions of dollars to, and that ties it back to our communities. We're being generous, but not just in our home office. In every little community that we've got offices, we're getting nonprofits. And the reason that is because our employees are connected there. So we're being family to our employees at the same time. So things like that I see happening, the accountability to our clients. A lot of those nonprofits are clients serve on their boards, or some of them are our clients. We have a large nonprofit book of business. So it's circular in so many ways that these values come together in things like that. And I think it just adds to the fact that it makes our employees proud to be here, because we're trying to live this out day by day, moment by moment.
This will carry us into the trends that you see and more of the insurance conversation. But when you talk about being partners with our carriers, tie that piece into where we're headed with the trends and the deep dive on the insurance industry.
Yeah, that one is a unique one, because in our business, I mean, we are an insurance broker. And the way I always explain that to people is a State Farm employee, they work for State Farm, right? That's their employer. We don't work for an insurance company. We work for our clients, and we deal with hundreds and hundreds of insurance companies. So our job is to find the best fit. Well, I often tell prospects and clients, it is far easier for me to find a prospect or a client that wants to do business with me than it is to get that deal done with that insurance carrier, to do what I need them to do with the right coverage, with the right pricing. So we spend an enormous amount of time trying to be teammates to our carriers. We're their sales force in essence, but rather than being on the receiving end of that, we're constantly trying to be proactive in connecting with them, constantly doing events for them, not just being asked to go, whether it's going to baseball games or going to unique concerts and taking leadership with us, always trying to sit on their advisory boards and provide value to them. Those type of things lead to a deeper relationship that allows us to negotiate as partners, because we're not always going to agree. But when you come at it from the point of view of friendship, relationship, and have each other's best interest at heart, you can get a lot more accomplished on behalf of the client.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and dive in. What are the trends that you see? Because there's a lot going on when you look at natural disasters and how that is affecting things, both with the personal lines insurance, the homeowners, but also obviously with the large losses for buildings. I mean, tornadoes and hurricanes and all of these things that are going, fires. But then also, too, things like the cyber crime and phishing scams and how that ties into, risk, cyber risk liability. Like, what are the trends that you see really right now that are top of mind for you?
It feels like this in the last 2 quarters, it's beginning to moderate a little bit. We're not seeing the crazy increases in pricing on the property and casualty side we were seeing, nor the shrinkage of coverage where they're, higher deductibles and exclusions. That it got out of control for a little bit, it seemed like, on our end. So we're not seeing that as much. I think the industry has stabilized. Now, what that means is they're still facing a gauntlet. When you mentioned property insurance, because that's in the news constantly. We've had more billion-dollar plus disasters in the last 10 years than we've had in measurable history. And so there's no predictive modeling that said that was all coming. And so the insurance company and the industry as a whole wasn't prepared for that. And so now they've adjusted. There's been a lot of transference of risk onto insureds where we've created programs to try to deal with that. So I'll give you an example where we have large property risk and the insurance industry says, all right, well, we're going to do a 1% wind and hail deductible. And that's 1% of the value of the building, or 2% or 5%. Well, when you've got a building that's worth $20 million, that's a significant deductible for a roof. And so we've created deductible buyback programs where you can take that deductible, but then turn around and buy that deductible down for some additional premium dollars to get it somewhere manageable. We're creating some small captives where you can fund for that in what's known as a micro captive. So trying to address what's happened in the industry, because I think this is a new normal. I don't think we're going to have a real drop off of rates or anything like that anytime soon because, as they say, the hits keep coming. The flooding continues, the wildfires continue, the hail continues. So I don't think it's going to regress anytime soon.
Dive in a little deeper on a captive, what a captive is for those who aren't familiar.
Yeah, there's really two things at a high level. People are familiar with captives. You're forming your own insurance company is all you're doing. And a typical captive, you're maybe putting big liability risks in it. And that's what's traditionally known. I'm put all my work comp and auto and general liability and excess. And it's very helpful when you have high premiums in those areas, but you have potential for high severity claims, but a lot of low frequency. That's what you want. And I think the industry's running that way. What I mentioned there was a micro captive, which is far easier to set up, and it's just for you. And it's basically what you're doing is you're funding for risks that you can actuarially show, but maybe aren't readily available. You can fund for accounts receivable risks. If you're selling a lot to some large clients and they typically pay 60 or 90 days out, and you're worried about their financials, you could take money and set it aside in that captive to fund for that receivable. Cyber liability, you could take a much higher deductible or property and fund for it in that captive and invest it just like an insurance company would. And if the claim happens, you've got the money there, but you don't have to have it sitting in your balance sheet on your company. So it's a real creative way to address risk without having to really mess with your financials within your operating company.
Similar to the micro captive, what's maybe another trend, another thing that is more, current in terms of what you're seeing play out? Innovative, I guess, is the best word. But what's another thing that's kind of innovative that you think, hey, this is actually a really good solution that I'm seeing more of, or I'm presenting more, I'm seeing more clients take advantage of? What's another positive trend, in other words, that you're seeing play out?
I do think, to your point, there are a lot of solutions available if you're looking for them. And I say about Higginbotham, granted, I'm proud of our company, but I do think it is almost constant that we're trying to put out new solutions to meet needs, whether it's addressing some of these high deductibles and shrinkage of coverage that we've seen through micro captives or other ways. Cyber programs and trying to design specialty cyber programs. And then not only that, but let's benchmark you. What should you have? Because it's surprising to a lot of companies how much they have at risk. The partnering with certain carriers that are going to be able to also provide cybersecurity solutions. So not just sell you the insurance, but maybe help you monitor what's going on in your own environment, especially with the rise of AI. It goes on and on, the creativity that's coming out of our organization to address these risks that our clients are facing. And once again, it goes back to we want to be accountable to our clients, and that means helping protect them for things they don't yet know are coming. So
one of the other things, going back to the core values, family to employees, right? And you have always been a mentor to young producers. And so talk about this is switching gears a little bit, but talk about From a community engagement standpoint, in Memphis, you were heavily involved with nonprofits, serving on boards, giving back to the community. Same thing, Middle Tennessee. Obviously, it's a through line for you, service to others, service to the community. Talk about how that aspect has made you a better, stronger leader and how that plays into the growth for you in Higginbotham. So in other words, talk about the importance of being connected in the community and working with nonprofits and how that helps fulfill but also fuel you for your growth.
Yeah, I'll start from this kind of macro idea that if I'm not doing something to better the community that I'm in, my community is not going to get better. And now let's extrapolate that out. Well, if I get 200 people that say that, and then it's 2,000 people that say that, and then it's 50,000, like we keep going, our communities are going to be better places. So I drill that, like you mentioned, with these young producers, that you need to find something that you care about. And it really, I don't care what it is. It could be your alumni association that's trying to make a difference. It could be the local zoo. It could be you want to be a mentor with a mentoring organization in your city. Doesn't matter. Get involved and do something. Everyone can do something. And all that's going to do, it's the old adage, we're going to watch the water rise, which means all the ships are going to rise at the same time. Our communities are going to be better places, which means our businesses are going to thrive more. So our clients do better. We do better. Everyone does better when our communities are healthy. And at the end of the day, Jeremy, it's about getting outside of yourself. We're rugged individualists here in the U.S. today, right? We're generations of people who came here that were going to make it happen for ourselves. But that's bled over into a self-centeredness to a great extent in our whole society. And I do believe that these new generations are turning away from that and saying, no, we want to be a part of community and authenticity. And exactly what you're describing, that's how we do that, is getting involved in other people's lives and hearing their stories, actually listening to them. Makes a world of difference.
Yeah. Well, I greatly appreciate everything you personally and professionally do to power the good, and obviously that as well with Higginbotham Insurance. So let's go ahead and wrap up. Where do we go to learn more and connect with you and Higginbotham Insurance?
Higginbotham Insurance can be found all over the place. We got a great social media footprint, as you well know. Higginbotham.com will tell you a lot about our company and where all we are. We've got a great office right here in Franklin, Tennessee that's growing like crazy. So feel free, you can find us on the website as well. Call us, come by. And just thank you, Jeremy. We appreciate City Current. As you know, our partnership runs deep. And the reason is we see all that you're doing to power the good, to make a difference in our communities, to make them better places. And it lines up so well with those core values we were talking about earlier. So thanks for all you do.
Absolutely. Well, Jay Harvill, Managing Director, Higginbotham Insurance, thank you for all you and the amazing team at Higginbotham Insurance do to power the good. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks, Jeremy. Appreciate you.
Higginbotham Insurance and Financial Services is proud to power the City Current Show. We're a people-first company that protects what matters most, the families, businesses, and trailblazers that keep our community going. As one of the nation's top independent insurance firms, Higginbotham is a single-source solution for business insurance, employee benefits, HR services, and personal insurance that's customized for you. We're here to serve you, the people you care about, and your community. Call 866-377-1959 or visit higginbotham.com.